final shape is out, and we finally have access to Prismatic and all the builds that come with it. I started with Warlock as I always do, and I breezed through the campaign with this build. If you like freezing everything, having constant devour for healing, restoration for even more healing, and radiant for free damage, then you might want to try this. Not to mention the new Song of Flame super that does a lot of damage. This is one of my first YouTube videos, so a like and subscribe would be great. I plan to make a lot more build videos for Warlock and the other classes as I play, so stick around for those. Anyways, let's get into the video. Transcendence is the new mechanic added with Prismatic and provides a lot of power for how easy it is to achieve. Dealing light and dark damage from any source fills your Transcendence meter. You can also provide subclass buffs, or most importantly, deal kinetic damage, which charges both the light and dark meter. We have many different ways of filling this meter, which we'll discuss in a bit. The core of this build revolves around two very good aspects: Feed the Void and Bleak Watcher. Feed the Void provides you Devour when you get a kill with any ability, so your grenade, melee, and super kills will give you Devour. And you're basically always getting some sort of kill with one of these, even if you're just smashing your face into the keyboard. Devour is basically a get out of jail free card. It restores your HP, gives you grenade energy, and every kill you get extends its duration. Our other aspect is Bleak Watcher. You charge your grenade and this charges up a stasis turret, which you can basically toss anywhere you want. The turret lasts for a pretty long while, and you just dog on everything. The beams of fire slows on first hit, then the second one freezes the target. This offers great crowd control since you can't really get murdered if everything's frozen. It also provides a good amount of damage on bigger targets, surprisingly, since they take shatter damage after being frozen, which basically takes zero effort from you. Our class ability of choice is Phoenix Dive for a quick burst of healing. This actually gets me out of a lot of sticky situations and can help when you're getting knocked around by bigger targets. You can also use Healing Rift if that suits you more though. We take Burst Glide as always, but that's just also down to preference. Our melee of choice is Incinerator Snap. This does a decent amount of damage, and your goal with this is mostly just to kill an enemy so you can proc Feed of the Void and get Radiant, which we'll discuss later. Arcane Needle will definitely be a better choice, but as of right now I haven't unlocked it yet, even after beating the story. But when I do, I'll definitely switch. Our Grenade of choice is entirely dependent on your exotic. I have opted for Cold Snap Grenade because of the exotic I decided to go with is Osmiomancy Gloves. These give you 2 grenade charges, which means double the turrets. They also allow your Cold Snap to recharge quicker on direct impact, which can be useful when you just want to quickly free something in a sticky situation or there's a lot of enemies at once. The Seekers from the grenade also travel further. If for whatever reason you don't have these gloves, you could also use Threading Grenade with the exotic boots the Swarmers. Our super is none other than Song of Flame. This new super gives all your weapons radiant and enhances your abilities. Think Heart of Inmost Light on steroids. Your melee basically becomes a crazier version of Incinerator Snap that launches more projectiles, and your grenade becomes a sentient flame wisp that seeks out targets and detonates, also applying Scorch. If that wasn't enough, your abilities also get increased ability regen, damage resistance, and your solar and kinetic weapon Scorch. This super felt really good in the legendary campaign. It does a lot of damage even to beef your targets, and you basically have zero downtime between your grenade, melee, and class ability if you get low on health. I cannot recommend this enough for general play. Maybe for quick DPS phases you might swap to Nova Bomb or Needle Storm, but that's up to you. Okay, now let's talk about fragments. If you're in the story or just recently beat the campaign, you probably won't have access to everything, so I recommend using Facet of Purpose, which gives you Amplified, Restoration, Frost Armor, Woven Mail, or an Overshield and Orb pickup based on your equipped super. And since we're using Song of Flame, we get Restoration each time we pick up an orb, which is pretty good. Facet of Ruin, which increases the area of recognitions, but more importantly, increases the size and damage of the burst when we shatter a frozen target, which will be happening a lot. Facet of Dawn, which makes us radiant and powered melee hit and makes our allies radiant if we kill as well. Facet of Courage causes our light abilities to do increased damage to targets with the darkness debuff. We are basically always slowing or freezing, so our melee and super will be benefiting from this and do increased damage with very little effort. Facet of Balance gives melee energy when we defeat targets with light damage and grenade energy when we defeat targets with darkness damage. This is free energy, which doesn't hurt. Later down the line, we can replace Facet of Dawn and Facet of Balance with Facet of Command and Facet of Grace, but whenever you get them. If you replace Facet of Dawn, make sure to get the artifact mod for this season or episode that gives you Radiant and Orb pickup. Facet of Grace gives bonus Transcendence energy, when we defeat targets with kinetic weapons, and when we defeat targets while transcendent, we get bonus energy for ourselves and our allies. Facet of Command reloads your weapons and gives them some stats when we freeze or suppress targets. Our kinetic weapon of choice will be Outbreak Perfected. Outbreak with rewind rounds feels so good, it's hard not to use, especially since Pulses got a huge buff this season. We also get bonus energy when killing targets with kinetic weapons thanks to Facet of Grace. Indebted Kindness is still a great special as always, but this season we get access to 2 new rocket sidearms, one being Solar, which might even be better depending on the perk pool, but as of right now, Indebted Kindness will do more than a good job. These 2 weapons also provide anti-barrier and unstoppable thanks to the artifact mod, which work in our favor. We also easily have overload with our Bleak Watcher, which slows targets, which counts as a source of overload. Your heavy weapon can be whatever you want for the situation, but I'm a fan of heavy GLs, so Cataphract or Edge Transit will do great DPS. There aren't any mods in particular necessary for this build, but I'll still give you a quick display of what I personally use. The general flow of this build is charge your grenade and throw it down, and have your turrets start freezing and slowing things. You can use your melee for a quick kill to proc devour and just go to town. If the build wasn't good enough, you will be getting your transcendent meter built up super fast, and that's basically just free damage and a lot of fun. When you have a really large group of enemies or a boss, you can pop your super and go to town as well. This build feels super great for general play and high-end content. It's basically an all-in-one. If you like this style of video, be sure to like and subscribe, as I'll be doing a lot more Destiny content. Be sure to comment as well if you have any options or things you'd like to see. Thanks for watching.